Now look at this one XML code here. It is written. Okay, so we have this XML code, but when we show on the browser, okay, so it is not readable, right? How can we read that? Okay, if you open this XML file, so as it will be shown. That will not be readable, right? It will not be readable. So how to show that XML file? So see, again, we have to take help of HTML to show that data on a web page. This data is not readable. So this is a simple one, okay? But if you have multiple data in XML, so that will not be readable. What we want, see, we should have a table, okay? Then we should have in the beginning, we should have a heading, name, last name, nickname, we should have heading. And then we should have a rows. Then it is readable. This XML file is not readable, right? So to make it user friendly, we have XSL. We have XSL. Okay. So see, for HTML, to beautify HTML, we have CSS. Okay. Later on, we will have different classes for the CSS. But to beautify XML, we require XSL. For the full form of XSL, so see, what do you mean by XSL? It stands for extensible style sheet language. Style sheet language. Extensible style sheet language. Now see that XML document is converted into the HTML format, right? So HTML format can be seen on web page. So the transformation XML to HTML, it is called as XSLT. XSL means what? Extensible style sheet language. And what is the meaning of this T? T means transformation. This T stands for transformation. Transformation. Right? Okay. So I will show you one example. So from that it will be clear. Okay. So see in jam folder, we have htdocs. There I have created one project with the name XSL. This is the XML file already we have opened. And this is the XSL file. Here we have XSL file. Look at this. This is the XSL file. This is our XML file and this is XSL file. How it is written, we will see one by one. But how that output looks, look at this. Our project name was XSL, right? Student.xml. Now look at this. We had XML file, right? This is our XML file. This is our XML file. But if you open as it is, so it will get open like this only. In browser also, it will get open like this only. But that will not be readable, right? So, but we want output something like this, right? Now see, from this, it is clearly readable. This is the first name, last name, nickname, first name, last name, nickname, right? So we have shown this data in tabular format. Also, we have given different color to heading, right? How it is done? It is done by using the XSL. How that code is written? Look at this. For this file, here we have written XSL code. Look at this. This is fixed that we have to write as it is. What things are there? Okay, so XSL that we have to mention. So here we have to write like this only version. Okay, and this is called as XML namespace. These are called as XML namespace, and this is a code. See, look at this. From this, it will be clear. Look at this. Suppose just one example I'm telling. Later on, we'll again move to XSL. Suppose multiple employees, they are working on some project and they have created some XML file. Okay, so one employee has written this XML code and another employee has written this XML code. And later on, we are combining in one single file. What will happen? See, here also we have table tag. Here is also we have table tag. We are considering XML code, not HTML. Here also we have table tag. In another XML file also we have table tag. When we combine together, so see in this table tag we have this tr, td. But here in this table tag we have this name, width, length, right? So both have the different format. So how to differentiate this table tag from this table tag? So for that we have the concept of namespace. We can use prefix like this. See, all this table tag and the child tag we have used prefix h. Here we have used prefix f. So by this we can differentiate this table tag from the another table tag, right? So for that here we are using prefix, right? Now see, in XSL, this prefix is fixed. Okay, so we are taking this prefix. It is predefined. Okay, this it is a predefined. So this is a prefix XSL, and this is keyword XML NES. It stands for XML namespace. XML namespace. It is a keyword. We can change this. Okay, XSL, that we can give another name also. That is possible, no problem. But it is a prefix, and this is a keyword which stands for XML namespace. Right. Now look at this. What we want to show this data in a tabular format, right? So see, for that we have HTML table tab. This is a row, right, where we are mentioning the headings: first name, last name, nickname. Now see what we have to do. We have to take this as a first row. This we have to take second row. This we have to take as a third row. So there are three rows. Suppose there are fourth row, we have to take data. Fifth row, we have to take data. 10th row, we have to take data, right? So to take data here, we have to use this keyword. These are the keywords. Okay, in XSL we have the keyword. This first name. So for this tag, this first name tag, we are selecting the value, right? We are selecting the value, and that we are putting in this table cell. For last name tag, we are taking that value, we are putting in this cell. Nickname, we are taking that value, selecting that we are putting in this cell. One row, right? So that will be for this. But again, we have one more row, third row. Likewise, we have multiple rows, right? So every time repeat, instead of repeating that, we can have for loop. So if you are from the programming background, so you know it, every C language, C++ language, we have the for loop. So similar for loop here, it is written for the XSL. This for loop is written for the XSL. So these are the keywords only. Okay, for is that is a keyword. We are accessing them by using prefix XSL. Okay, and these are the child tags of the student tag, right? Okay, and class, that is a root tag. That class is a root tag. So in this way, we are writing XSL. Okay, later on I will share this program code, so you can go through it. Okay, you can use this XML file, you can use XSL file, you can make some changes in this XSL file, so accordingly you will get the output. Okay, so whatever the output, see here we are getting output like this, but suppose I want different output. Okay, so accordingly I can change code in XSL file. Accordingly we can write the code. Okay, so this is XSL. Later on I will share this program code in our Google Drive. Okay, now see, we have one more concept that is called a DTD, and by that concept we will stop. Okay, so we have concept of DTD. We have concept of DTD. Okay, document type definition. Now see, one example I will give. From that it will be very clear why we require that DTD. Full form is document type definition. Document type definition. Now see, one example I will give, and from that it will be clear. See, name, here I am putting first name. Suppose my name Parag. Closing first name. Okay, and I'm repeating this. Here closing name tag. Here suppose I want middle name. Middle name. That is a closing middle name. Closing middle name. And here I want to give my middle name. Something like this. And here we have last name. Here also we have the last name. Last name. And here I'm mentioning my last name. Something like this. Okay. One way, and one more way we'll write. See. This is one example. Now look at this. Suppose here I'm removing this middle name. Here I'm putting F name only. Here I'm putting last name. Suppose here I'm writing L name. Yeah. Now one simple example I'm giving. See, suppose we have a group of 4 to 5, and suppose everyone I have given some task that you have to create one XML file, and that XML file should collect names of the people. Okay, XML file should collect name of the people. Now see, in HTML we have predefined tags, but that is not the case with the XML. XML, we have user defined tags, right? So one person may write tags like this. Another person may write tags something like this. See, suppose he has written tags like this because there is no restriction on this, right? XML, we have the user defined tag. We can write any tags, right? So see, even see, for Maharashtra or Maharashtra people and Gujarat people, we have first name, middle name, and the last name. But if you go to the North India, so there we have first name and the last name only, right? For example, Harish Singh, Harish Kumar, something like Guruprit Singh, right? So mostly we have first name and last name, right? In South India, again, nomenclature is different. Okay, they don't have the family name. Okay, we have the family name. Maharashtra, we have the family name. But in South India, they don't have the family name. Instead of family name, they put their village name. Okay, you might have seen some people. They have their village name as a family name. So their nomenclature is very different. In Maharashtra, we have first name, middle name, last name. In North India, mostly we have first name and last name only. So see, suppose in our group, and if I ask one person to write XML code for getting a name of a person. So he may write something like this. Another person may write like this. Both are correct, right? Instead of name, he has used full name tag. First name, he has used F name. Okay. Middle name, he has skipped. And L name, instead of last name, he has written L name. It is also correct, and this is also correct because there is no restriction on the XML, right? And that is the problem with the XML because XML has a user defined tag. We are using it for saving the data, but there is no restriction. Now we want to set some rules for the XML because see, we may arise with such kind of problem. So to avoid that, we want to set some rules, and that rules can be set by using DTD. That rules can be set by using the DTD, document type definition. So what rules can be set? We can set the rule. This is the root tag. Okay. Inside that root tag, suppose we have the child tag like this. Okay. And we want to set name only. Okay. First name, middle name, last name. Inside this root tag, we want this child tag. Okay. I want to make this rule. So first we will set the rule, and that can be possible by using the DTD. And that rules we will share among the different people. That people who are working on that project, they will see the rules, and accordingly they will create XML file. Clear? So how to set the rules? For that purpose, we are using DTD. DTD is used to set rules for the XML. I will show you one example, and from that it will be clear. Okay, we have one example. So see, same XML file, and this is our DTD. All right. Now look at this. What is written here? See, for the XML file, here I have written DTD. Now see, what I want, this is class, right? So this is a root tag, right? Class is a root tag. So here I have mentioned. Now in one class, there can be multiple students, right? So that's why here we have written student and star. So in one class, there can be one student, even there can be zero student. We are considering that example. In one class, there can be zero student, one student, two student, multiple student. So here we have written like this, right? So in class tag, class, which is the parent tag, we can have multiple student tag. Star means it can be 0 or more. If you mention plus, so 1 or more. Now see, inside student tag, we are setting rule. There should be 3 tags: first name, last name, nickname. Inside student tag, there should be first name, last name, nickname. So inside student tag, there should be first name, last name, nickname. We are making that rule. Now first name tag will have some character data. Last name, we can have some character data. Nickname, we can have character data. C means character. Okay, character data. And what is the meaning of P? P means parse character data. Parse character data means that will get parsed by the XML compiler. If you remove this P, so C data, okay, so that will be neglected by the XML compiler, XML parser. Okay, so this PC means parse character data. So see, here we have set some rules. How we have set the rules? By using the DTD, document type definition. If we are writing these rules outside the XML file, that is called as the external DTD. That is called as the external DTD. If we are writing the rules outside the XML file, we have XML file, and outside the XML we are writing DTD file. that is called as external DTD. External DTD. External DTD. So here we have external DTD, right? This DTD file we have written with the extension .dtd, and here we have to include it. How to include? So for that we have to follow the syntax. Doc type, that is a keyword. Class, right? So class, that is a root tag. System, again it is a keyword, and this is a this file name. File name, right? This file name that we have to mention. We can also use internal DTD. So instead of having separate DTD file, inside that XML file only, inside XML also, we can write DTD code. You can write DTD code, and this is called as internal DTD. This is called as internal DTD. One example I will show you. So look at this. This is our XML code, and inside that, okay, we have written the code. It is similar only. Only the square bracket is added here. Okay. Inside this XML code, we have written DTD code that is called an internal DTD. And suppose if you have a separate file, then it is called as an external DTD. Okay. So in this way, we have XML, XSL, and the DTD.